So I'm really excited to see what he's going to tell you guys about your new event strategy for 2016, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a lot of fluff. If I know Danny, Danny's just going to shoot it to us straight. So Danny, come on up. Let's give him a big round of applause. And thank you, everybody, for all the hard work you're putting in tonight.
Thanks, Josh. So right before it came up, Josh goes, "Is it okay if I call you crazy in front of everybody?" Sure, Josh, go ahead. So I hope that my voice makes it through this talk, so bear with me if anything goes bad, guys. I do want to kind of start off a little bit with saying that I took over NorCal. Randy Jones, actually, and myself took care of SenCal. The year before NorCal was Tim Curry. Lori did help us a lot, lay down a lot of foundation. And when I took over NorCal, it was a hot mess. Had a long talk with Jamison Jones, who now is the permanent DVM, who I want to give recognition to. And he wanted me to start in July of 2015. And anybody who's ever worked events knows you don't start nothing mid-year. So I told him, no, I can't do that. And I kind of put him in a position of making a decision. And it had to be either I start fresh in January or we can revisit this talk next year. And, he took a chance on me and gave me the opportunity. And I just went with it and made the most of it. So couple good things. Josh said I got about 20, 30 minutes. I'll try not to bore you too much, and we'll go from there. So thank you, guys. When it comes to new event strategy, the most important thing when it comes to finding and working new events is your mindset going into it. So one of the first things I did is I sat down with Jamison and I discussed with him what my vision was of where I wanted to take us, what I thought we could do, and how we could get there. Because if you don't have your DVM as well as your team on board of where you're wanting to go and what you're wanting to do, there's just no way you're going to get there. Like Isaac kind of said, you're going to get resistance. And it's not even if you're leading in a bad way or, demanding it or asking. It's just that people don't understand. They don't get it. So you have to see where they sit so you can help put that plan together. A big part of that was the events team, who I love you guys so much, as always. And I tell you every time I talk to you, you're my favorite people in the world. Is they always gave me everything I needed. Hey, Dave, I need to know this. Hey, Deb, I need to know that. I mean, I ask a lot of these people all the time. And the cool thing is they always gave it to me right away. So I could go and talk to Jamison, I could go and talk to my team, and I could do all the things by knowing the numbers. So mindset, write this down, mindset. The vision of the program has to be the same, like I said, with the DVM and the coordinator, as well as the team. You have to discuss how you feel where the program and where the direction you can take it in. The plan of attack is what I like to call it. There's a few major ways to grow overall CPO at the booth for each year. And what we thought is our numbers had dwindled for the amount of people on our team. So what we needed to do was find new events, because what we wanted to do, like most of the successful teams do in the company, is we wanted to make sure that our leaders and our veterans were taken care of, but we also wanted to create opportunity for anybody new that came aboard to have some profitability and some immediate success as well. Which, if you know anybody here, it doesn't matter if you're a coordinator or not, what matters is that you're part of the team. Things get, for lack of a better term, kind of catty about who gets what shift, and everybody gets in their emotions and blah, blah, blah. And it's not always easy to justify how you assign things or pick things. So we just said, hey, you know what? If everybody's on board for finding new events, let's start working as a team and go after this. And that was something that we implemented like right away in the beginning of the year. Number two, this is big. You might want to write this down. Research. you should have your team, yourself, and anybody that you know what you do help with research. Your search engines, things such as, and some of you might know these already, but it's always nice to refresh the basics, right? Your chambers of commerce, city of, whatever your county fairgrounds are in your divisions, because they don't only hold the county fairs, they hold other events throughout the year. Vendors. One of the things that I talk to my team about when they're working Fridays, because nobody wants to work Fridays, is, hey, I love working Fridays. Why? I get to set up, so I get to work the vendors and talk to them and lay down a foundation so I could sell to them on Sunday, of course. And then also just to talk to them about, hey, how was the show last year? If it's something new, or, how are things, or what other events do you know that this promoter does? Or what other events do you work? So you can get a lot of information. And most of the vendors, it's kind of a hit or miss. A lot of them you'll get, oh, it was really bad, blah, blah, blah. But you got to go. I mean, if they're selling tie-dye shirts, what do you expect them to say? But, if it's the cookware guy, it's somebody that's selling something good like us, you got to talk to them and see what they say and find out other shows. And maybe they're telling you this one's bad, but maybe they're going to tell you, oh, but this one over here is really good. Great. Let me get that information. Okay, so that's a good source. Look up shows that are put on, like if you have a show that's by a promoter. We have a guy in Reno that does a lot of shows, but he does them all through California and even other states, JT Williams. And man, he just puts on so many different events. We just go to his website and we added 20 new events last year just from one promoter. So that was really huge for us. Facebook, you can look upcoming events in your area. Facebook, people always put stuff on there. Google local events that people have told you about. Let me see. Get your team involved. If you have different people, like our division is really scattered out. I think from top to bottom, before we trimmed a little bit of fat coming into this year, it was 6 hours from top to bottom. So you have different people that are from different areas. Like I can tell you all the shows around Turlock. Denise is from Modesto. Randy helps out because he's down from Fresno. So you put somebody in that area and have them focus on the events in there and get it back to you. So that helps out a lot right there. And then we made it a requirement. So we have leaders on my team. And leaders on my team now, they have to bring, 2 to 4 events per month. Researched properly. They just can't say, hey, Curtis, I found a potato event. Here it is. I'll bring my potato launcher. Let's have fun. So, they got to tell me some things. Who's the promoter? Where's the information? Who's the contact person? What to do? And some research. How long has it been going? These are a lot of things too. I'm going to give you some tips on what events, Josh really wanted me to go into depth about strategies on what to book and what not to, and so forth. He said, what's the minimum of percentage you want to add for the year? I think you need to know these things going into each year. How many team members do you have on your team going into it for sure? How many of them are going to be full-time? How many are going to be part-time? The kids that go to school and come home for the summer? And then how many can you recruit? Again, you have to have good communication with your DVM, with the DMs too. Put that in your notes. I think a lot of opportunity is missed out that some coordinators and other people don't spend enough time talking with their DMs, because you know how it goes. They want to snatch up everybody good and take them into management, and have them branch and have them DM and have them do that, which that's what we need too, because the more offices there are, the more recruiting we can do. So you got to have a good relationship with everybody. And the more that you get them involved in knowing how the program works, how it's going to benefit their management team as well, then the better it's going to be for everybody. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, good. So what we did is we, got the numbers, figured out what we were going to do, who we could, and I had a good arrangement with the DMs, and The DVM, you take who you got to take first, but if you think there's somebody that can handle both, we'll do that. And if you think this person's just going to be better for the team, then you know what? Let's bring them on the team right away. Bring them to the meetings, bring them to the trainings. Even if they're not on that level yet, let's get them there and let's get them bought in mentally so it'll work harder for them to get there. One of the things that we had to overcome too was just like with Isaac, we lost a lot of shows and territory from last year and again this year. So this year, we're going to have to find more events than we did last year because we lost about 35 events and 150,000 CPO from those events coming into this year. So our goal this year, I'll just throw it out there. Our goal this year is to do 200 events with a smaller team with less territory. But it's the only way that we're going to be able to not only maintain, but actually grow our numbers to hit our goal that we want to do. And it's with the involvement of everybody, how this occurs. There's strength in numbers, for lack of a better term. So what are our, you got to find out a couple other things too. What are your averages for your events? Knowing the numbers is huge. What's the max level of shows, you can add on? How many kits do you have? One of the things that we implemented last year that changed is everybody on the team that wanted to do any traveling, you had to have a full setup. And I don't mean like just, I got a homemaker and an ultimate. No, you had to have every single thing where you could do any event, as no matter how large it was, with everything. Banners, tables, everything. And the nice thing is when we did certain events, there were our larger events, we actually had 2 setups at that booth. So each person that has their own table, you're not sharing that ultimate set, you both have one at your table. You're not sharing the flatware, you both had one at your table. So when people come up, you don't get that, how they loop around, kind of go from different tables instead of staying in front of where you are. So you don't have to go like, what does Lori do? Hey, come here, come back over here. They just stay in front of you because you have everything. You're all same setup. And they're like, oh, okay, nice. You're all stop trying to leave me. Come back. So you need to find out too how many people are going to branch, how many new reps they anticipate, and how recruiting's going. You should have a lot of conversations with your DMs and DVMs. I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but there's a lot of people in this room that are going to go to cut corners and it's going to bug you. And here's the value of listening to this right now, even if you're not a coordinator, if you're a team member, you always know what you're up against. Because I'm pretty sure there's some of you in here that are like, oh, great, I'm going to work the same shows as I did last year, blah, 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 this. I got this one on lock, and sorry, no tortillas. And I'm just being real. And then there it comes. Everybody's in their feelings, blah, blah, blah. Cry me a river. So, and it just goes all bad real fast. So talk even as just representatives on the team. Talk to the DVM, talk to the DMs, talk to your coordinator, talk to the leads. Be active, be proactive in every way that you can. And then here's the thing too. These are really important, okay? And I'll hope that I'm teaching you guys something right now. When you go to do new events, this is what you need to know, and you need to know in this order. You need to know the what, the when, the where, the who, and the 2 most important things are the how and why. And why I said them to you in the order that I did is because it's a process. So obviously the what new events? What kind of new event is it? Big difference. I would think that everybody in this room would agree that working an indoor show and an outdoor show, 2 different kind of events. Yeah, especially if you live in areas like, in NorCal/SenCal, we have really hard rainstorms and it's really cold, during the winter to summertime. It's 110 degrees. And if you're, skinny like me, you melt once it cracks 55. So, yeah, I need to know if this is an indoor show, if it's an outdoor show. I need to know the hours. So I need to know if I need to have lights. You need to know if there's extra things. You need to know how long the hours are going to be of the event. Little things like that. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, good. So, and then here's a big one, and I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I know my boy Dwayne went through this. This is rough right here. You need to know what the security's like, because you need to know if you're going to have to pack your stuff up that night and reset up every day. You're going to need to know if you could just throw a sheet over it, if you have to bring it back. That's a big deal. Because I'm going to share the story if that's okay with you, Dwayne. Dwayne was doing a show in Lompoc area, and it was an outdoor event. And man, we pretty much decided that security was in on it. They hit like 4 or 5 different tents strategically and took his ultimate signature, a good chunk of his event. And they said, oh, no, don't worry. We have security out here. So you need to know. There's other times where we're working indoor shows, and they say, oh, we lock the doors, we do this and that. But, for instance, the one we just did this weekend, I'm getting ready to leave on Friday. The event closed at 6, but I stayed after to do my rolling there. 7:30, there were still 2 doors unlocked. And we're right by the door. So it's a big thing. One of the tips that I'll tell you guys, and this is for everybody, not just coordinators, talk to the security guards. I'm nice to the guys. You ever do a home show and they got the people that come and they sweep? And they're like, and you can tell they're ghetto. It's whatever. And lip tattoos and stuff on their neck and no teeth. But they're cleaning stuff. I'm always really polite to them. I tell them, oh, thank you so much. Do you want a water? You want an energy bar? Do you want an apple? Don't steal my shit. Hey, I'm real because I know what my thoughts would be. So anyways, so the nice thing is whenever I come in the next day, my area is always clean. Yep, all my knives are here. I see them the next day. Good times. So, but these are just little tips to help you guys, when you're doing stuff. Now, moving on, the when. This is important. The when is the event? You should know. And if your coordinator's doing the right thing, he should have a Google Calendar to the team, can see all the time, or a list, or gives it to you at the first meeting of the year, or whatever, but you should know when the events are. So when you're researching as a coordinator or a team member to add another event, what you want to do is you want to see how many other events do you have that same weekend at that time. Because ultimately what you want to do is you want to find something somewhere that isn't too close if there are other things going on. Does that make sense to you guys? Now that's a two-way street, because sometimes it's nice if we're in 3 different cities at 3 different times, because one day they might want to go to one show, the next day they might go to another. Now back in the day when we didn't do ROR, that wasn't too popular, but now that we do ROR, it's great, because they just, bring their sheet or their business card, who they talk to, tell the deal. So you're getting extra CPO from a different event. So don't be afraid of that either. But the purpose of wanting to know the when is you want to make sure that you have somebody that can cover it. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, good. And how does this coincide, like I said, with what you already have booked? The next one is the where. Where are these events? Where are these events? Are these places that people are willing to travel? Is there somebody local that's already there that can work them, that maybe that should be the primary person on that event, and then if we can have somebody else go out and assist them? That's a big, big deal, because you don't want to book something that, hey, how are we going to get this covered? And if you're lucky like me, I have a decent relationship with coordinators from surrounding areas. So there's been times, and again, I'm going to refer back to people like Dwayne that came from the LA, Rochelle, and other people. Lori came in still from Louisiana, and they come in and they work territories that we don't have a lot of reps, and they came in, and I'm not going to lie, they helped us, hit $1 million, along with my team. That's most of them are right here, dead center, that were willing to travel and could travel because they had their own setup. So it was easier for us, to book stuff no matter where it was. Okay, next is the who. Do your research. This is huge. This is big right here. You need to look into who attends these shows, what type of people attend these shows. Because you do understand that maybe the volume, the number of people, like for instance, fairs, there's way more people, but how many of those are kids? How many of those are unqualified people? You understand? Brown people like me, they won't buy. Just kidding, gosh. Do you see that? All the dark people in the room got mad. So the who's gonna attend the show? Okay? Who's gonna work the shows? Now this is what we did, and this is how it still is with us. Okay? If it's a brand new show, and I really think that you guys should do this, because this is how you get people involved. If you're a coordinator right now, you could buy me a drink later, because I'm gonna make your life so much easier right now. Okay? New events. Whoever finds it, gets it. There you go, tequila, right there. Patton's the biggest racist guy towards me all the time. Never talks to me in English ever. And then pulls his phone and says, look at my black wife. No idea what just happened. Every time. Look at him. His face is red. That was him all last night. You see Curtis shake his head because he was there next to me going, what just happened? Okay, back on task. Let's go. So I'm going to give props to somebody right now that he didn't know that I would. Brian, can you please stand up? Okay, this is Brian. Brian managed for, everybody say hi, Brian. There you go. Brian, say hi back. Stay standing. So Brian is somebody that really didn't come onto the team until end of summer, beginning of fall. And as you know, on my team, I have some strong people. Lori, Karen Wirtz has been around for 90 years. Dan Perez, who invented Cutco. Owen Young, Randy, Denise Vitorino, some really veteran reps that have been around for a long, long time. So it was going to be hard for Brian to get, prime shifts here and this and that, due to a lot of factors, seniority, et cetera, et cetera. So you know what Brian did? And this is something that he did for me today, right now. So I'm going to say thank you in front of everybody for you being you and doing what you do, because I get the credit, but it's not me. Brian handed me today, sent it in, emailed me 21 new shows today. Because when we were eating at lunch, I was like, man, we're hurting for February. He goes, are we? Okay, I just fixed that. I was like, thanks. Anyways, go ahead, Brian, sit down. Long story short, like I said, Brian, he just, started with us. He brought in more new shows in the fall than anybody else. Brian brought his kit, never had worked them, didn't market them, nothing, went out. And I think he was number, 3 or 4 for the fall. Definitely, I think he ended up number 3 at the kiosk in December. So how nice is that? And right now, he's one of my lead researchers for the team. And, I'll just go ahead and announce it now. Brian is going to be our newest leader added on to the NorCal division. So... And I do want to say thank you to Denise and Karen, my 2 Wonder Twins. They brought in the second amount of shows. I mean, it was really close between the 2 of them together that brought, the most amount of shows as well. So give the girls a clap, please. So whoever finds the show gets dibs. Now, we even went a little bit over and beyond because everybody in my division has their own setup. If they want it to themselves and they think they can handle it due to the traffic and everything, the research, they get it all by themselves. If they want to share it, they just say, hey, I want to share it. Send whoever you want. Or we'll send a field trainer to help them. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, good. Josh told me I got to wrap up. He just gave me the finger. So finishing this up, who benefits from these events? Write this in your notes. Everyone. The managers benefit because they get credit for the CPO, helps them with their growth. The DVM, the rep that found it, the reps that work it, the reps that share it with them, everybody benefits. The coordinator makes him look good, or her, or them. Okay, so everybody. And so do the people that attend that, because that's a show that they weren't able to buy Cutco at before, and now they are. And you guys know as well as I know, if you're at an event, I don't care what the other vendors are selling, we're doing them a favor by being there. Because if they can afford Cutco, they can buy anything. Yeah, so we're doing them a favor. Last two, and then I'm done, guys. How? How do we get these shows staffed? This is what you got to ask yourself when you're going to booking. How do we get these shows staffed? How do we set our goals at these events? How do we make these events profitable first time work in the event? If any of you have ever talked to any of my team or myself, the number one thing that I promise my team and the number one thing that I care about the most is that this program, being on the Fair and Show team, is profitable for them. Otherwise, there was no point in doing this. So I want to make sure that it's profitable. How will this help the team? How much is the cost? Okay, and this is big right here. Make sure you write this down. How can we negotiate the best location for this event? Also, how can we negotiate the price? Because sometimes there was a couple events last year, they just wanted big giant numbers and they were too much. So you got to, I'm pretty sure, I think, Curtis, you're going to give a talk about that, negotiating? Cool, so I won't steal his thunder like I could, but anyways. So I'll give him a Seth Kinzer kick. So the last thing is the why. Ready, guys? The why. Why do you book this event? Why do you book this event? Here it is. For exposure, possible sales and leads. It helps the team. It gives newbies a chance to start working sooner. It helps you create layers of events for the team. It grows the program. It grows the program by getting us exposure. So all I can tell you guys real quickly, and then I'm done, get everybody involved. Share your vision. Make sure everybody's the same. Talk about it all the time. Talk about it all the time. You and your team, everybody should have the same mentality. I want to be inside of a booth every single day that I can, no matter where I can, because you and them have to have the confidence that you can get it done. Thank you.